this is Kat with Beadaholique, and in this video I'm going to show you how to set a photograph under a glass cabochon pendant to seal it and have a wonderful keepsake. Alright, so I am going to be doing that here today using the Judykins Diamond Glaze. This is going to be my adhesive, and then I'm also going to be using the Swellegant Clear Finish, and then this is the matte finish. So this is going to seal that photograph so that that diamond glaze doesn't hurt it at all. All right, I have my photograph here. I'm also going to need a pair of scissors and a paintbrush. And then I have my glass cabochon and bezel setting. Now, this comes as a set. We also do have sets that are square or heart-shaped, and we do have some other ones as well. And then I'm just going to be using a pre-finished little ball chain here just to finish off my pendant. Okay, so the first thing we're going to want to do is figure out the portion of our photograph that we're going to want. Now, I have a sort of postcard style photograph here, and if you look on the back, I've already done my little tracing of the area that I want, but basically how it works is you would take your glass cabochon, and just to show you, when you place it inside the bezel, there is a little bit of extra space. You can kind of hear that. And that's just to allow for a little extra glue on the sides to make sure that we get a really strong seal. So if you go to the back of your photograph, or you can do this on the front if you like, but what I recommend is taking a pencil or a pen and then finding the area that you want and just sort of tracing it, and be generous with your tracing. Kind of go all the way around. And then you are all set, and then you are done. Perfect. All right, so we can move that to the side now. All right, so I'm going to come over here and I'm going to cut out this piece because I actually really like this little corner, the little dark blue. That's sort of what I wanted for my pendant here. Now, like I said, be generous because you can always trim, but you can't add it back. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to try to hold this very carefully by the edges. If you want, you can use gloves just so that you're not ruining the rest of the photograph. I mean, I realize that we're cutting it out here. And I'm just going to kind of cut around, going all the way around here. All right, so let me cut this out and I'll be right back to show you what we're going to do next. All right, so now that you've had it cut out and perfectly trimmed, it's just going to sit right in the center there. All right, so we are going to adhere that to the back of our bezel using the Judykins Diamond Glaze. So go ahead and pop that open, and you can just pour just a little bit. And the nice thing about this nozzle is that it is going to, oops, I need to trim mine to open it up. There we go. Okay, there we go. So now it's going to pour out, and you don't need a lot, but just kind of put it in the center there, and you can just use the nozzle to sort of smooth it out. We're just trying to adhere this to the bottom. Now you'll notice that the bezel has some little grooves to it, so we want to make sure that we put enough in there because it's going to kind of fill that area up. All right. There we go. Go ahead and put that together. So it's not very high, but you can definitely see the glue in there. Now we're just going to take ours and make sure it's oriented the right way. You'll have your hook there to guide you. And then just go ahead and just place that in the center. And then I'm just going to use sort of the edge of my scissors. You can also use some tweezers or whatever you like. Just don't use your fingers on this part to kind of press that down in there. You might see a little bit of the glue kind of come up over the sides. That is okay. We can clean that up if we want. We can clean it up with like the edge of our paintbrush. And this is another tool that you can use since you're already going to need it. And I'm just kind of going around and just tapping ever so slightly just to really make sure that that is all going to be sealed nicely in there. All right, now this is a little bit of a long process, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to let this sit for at least a half an hour and fully bond and dry before we come back in with our Swellegant to seal that photograph. Okay, so now we are ready to use the Swellegant Clear Sealant. Now for this, it does have a little top where you can pour it into a little dish if you like, but just be prepared to toss that dish, so like a little plastic cup or something. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the top, set it aside, and I'm just going to kind of dip my paintbrush directly into the Swellegant. Now you wouldn't want to do this if you are using patina because you don't want to color your sealant there. However, for this, I think I'll be okay. All right, now I'm just gonna lightly paint it on here and just sort of seal that up together. And for these first few strokes, you can kind of add a generous amount, but just make sure that it's really getting all the way around. And we want to try to avoid streaking if we can. So really just seal up those edges, going all the way around here. And this is going to be a matte finish, but don't worry, that glass cabochon is going to make it appear nice and shiny again. Here we go, right around the corners there. And this is especially important if you are working with either the heart or the square. You want to really make sure that you seal up all of those little corners with the sealant. Now you can do multiple coats. You can also do one coat if you like, but just make sure to allow it to dry between the coats. All right, so I'm just going to come in a little bit more here on the edge. All right, so now the next part is to let this dry for about another 20 to 30 minutes or so. So make sure you close up your Swellegant, and I'm gonna go wash my paintbrush. You can just wash it under just some water there. All right, so I will be back in just a minute. Okay, so we are ready to finally put our cabochon on. So we're going to open up our diamond glaze one more time. And again, you can just spill it in here. Here we go. And just let it pool up a little bit. And what I suggest now is to just kind of pick it up and let it kind of drip its way around. Okay, so now we're going to take our glass cabochon and hold it by the very, very edges. You can also kind of brush it on your surface like that just to get rid of any little fingerprints that might come up. So now we're going to carefully set it right on top. And you can just press down, and don't worry about the fingerprints on the top here because those you'll be able to brush off later. And we just want to kind of just wiggle it around just a little bit just before it kind of sets, because we want to make sure that we don't have any air bubbles. Now you can see that we have a little extra glue kind of coming out this side, a little bit of that diamond glaze, so you can just kind of wipe that off with your finger and just kind of get that there. There we go. All right, so now you can see that it kind of has, like, any little streaks that were in there have gone away. So now we have a fully finished little piece here. And again, it's, not moving. We don't have that knocking around that we have with the last one. So I'm going to let mine dry, but just to really quickly show you, the last part of this is to add on our necklace. So I'm just going to kind of string it through one side, and we have it all clasped up in the back, ready to go. So that's a super simple way to design this. You can absolutely use this pendant to design an even more elaborate piece. And again, we do have this in different finishes. We have a beautiful antique brass, we have square, we have hearts, lots of fun things over at Beadaholique.com. And that is also where you can get your diamond glaze and your Swellegant sealant. All right, thank you so much for joining me. I'll be back again soon with some more tutorials from Beadaholique.